everybody. I'm Dr. Patty Smith, and I wanted to check in with you today. A little different than my normal long-winded writing back to you, but I wanted to spend a few minutes just kind of giving you the opportunity to see my face, hear my voice, see that I'm a real person. I'm in my office at Jones College. Had to come here today in order to get some quiet because my house is absolutely nuts. Animals everywhere, people everywhere. It's crazy. And so I know, what some of you are going through too, trying to find those quiet spaces. Just sitting here looking at this video, I've noticed that there is right here, this is my 16-year-old. It is an Okhurt, which you know where that comes from, right? We won't even go there. But this is on my wall. I just realized that. So there you go. You have a nice laugh for the rest of the day. All right. With the discussion boards, one of the things that I wanted to do is I wanted to spend a few minutes just kind of hitting the highlights, the themes that I saw in your discussion boards, the things that you kind of want more information about, a little bit more, a little bit more clarity, a little bit more specifics. So I kind of want to walk through this, and I've already read these and kind of marked them as I went along, and also wrote down what I saw were some themes in what you are talking about here. I'm going to try to not talk a lot. I can't promise you anything because I am a talker. It's what I do. I talk and I write. And I know that you are overwhelmed right now with all of the online. That's going to definitely be something that was coming out in many of your postings. And so one thing I want to think about possibly, obviously, making more videos for you, because this class is online. It is online whether or not there's a pandemic. So, it's not the option of having this in class. But, what I don't mind doing possibly, if any of you are interested in doing this, is, possibly having some outside office hours or something on campus somewhere. I don't really know how many of you are right there on campus. Whether or not that would be helpful for you. That would certainly not be required. It would just be there in case you wanted to come by and ask questions in real life and all of that good stuff. So we'll let me know, what you think about that, and we can certainly see if that's okay for us to try and schedule some little meetups like that. Overall, number one concern of everybody is your practicum hours overall. I get it completely. Now, for my class, you don't have to worry about practicum hours for my class. I'm taking that off the board. We're not worrying about that. But I do understand your concern about how you are supposed to get the practicum hours that you are required to get for your senior block. What I would try to tell you about that is this. I know that the administration is going to do everything that they possibly can to make that as fair as possible, as well as also give you the experience that you need in the classroom, if at all possible. So that could very well be some of the reason why you don't have complete answers to those questions yet, simply because, I know that with everything else, that we're involved in the world right now, it's very difficult to get a clear answer on anything, just because everybody's trying so hard to wait till the last minute, hoping that we can actually do something. Whether it's a football game, whether it's, going out to eat at a certain restaurant, we don't know whether we're going to be able to do those things. And of course, when we think we're going to be able to, and then the next thing you know is the governor's coming on and telling us we can't do those things anymore. So this is nuts, absolutely nuts, no doubt about it, nuts. But the people that you have in charge are very knowledgeable people. They know what they're doing, and I promise you they have your best interest at heart, and they're going to do everything they can to be sure that you get what you need, and also to be fair with those things as well. So just kind of hang in there. I know that causes extra stress. I get it. I do. I experienced that myself. And I've mentioned to you before, I have 3 daughters. A couple of you mentioned therapy. We are very familiar with therapy. And I do think that has a lot to do with I know we have a few guys in our class, but that goes along very well with being young adult women as well. So hang in there as best you can. I have no problem whatsoever at all in our discussion boards on a weekly basis. If you want to rant about anything, a couple of you made a couple of suggestions about that, or mention that a little bit. That is okay. That does not bother me in the least little bit whatsoever at all. So feel free to do that. I just want to walk through these really quickly. And y'all, I love the memes. I love memes anyway. I love GIFs and memes and those kinds of things. You know, I think that we need to have fun in any place that we can. We should definitely have some fun. And so we're going to continue that. I'm going to have a theme of the week or whatever in your discussion board, and I want you to continue to find these good memes. As I see them, I'm screenshotting them and keeping them in my phone. My daughter told me yesterday that the reason I have no memory left in my phone is because I screenshot everything. That's exactly what she told me. So anyway, I screenshot everything, and I'll share those with you as I get them. But again, the number one concern overall was practicum hours and instructions and last minute changes to instructions. I know that your other instructors, especially in the education department, we are very well aware of what good teaching looks like, and very well aware of, you know, trying to meet our students' needs. We learned a long time ago, and we continue to practice. We don't teach content, we teach students, and that's something that we want you to learn as well. So you're going to have some last minute changes simply because some of you've already noticed that there are some assignments that are left on from previous semesters that aren't even relevant to this semester. You know, so your good teachers, and all of you, I'm not saying your teachers are bad, but they're going to be making changes as you go along because they want that to be relevant to you. With the possibility of not being able to get into the practicum, that's going to be another reason why the experiences that you get in your online classes need to be as relevant as possible. And even, you know, if you're able to go back to campus for some of your classes. So try to be a little bit more patient, you know, and I don't mean a little bit more patient, just try to be. And I promise you, I know how hard that is. I know how hard that is. We're coming back to class ourselves face to face beginning tomorrow here on campus, and I'm anxious about it. I'm anxious about it. So I completely get that. Completely get that. Probably the second most overarching thing, you know, that you're asking about is more feedback on the reflective writing assignments. You know, what the goal of that assignment is, what am I looking for? What am I getting? One meme that I didn't screenshot was a meme that I saw, and I think I saw it on Twitter, and it was a meme of a teacher who was blown away at the worry of her students over things that didn't have anything to do with the actual learning process of the course. And a couple of you noticed this. A couple of you mentioned that you did realize that is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the content. I'm looking at your learning. I want you to learn what you need in this class with this content. Content area reading, it is an area of literacy that is so overlooked and has been so overlooked for so long. Those of us who have specialty research areas in content area literacy, we have begged for years and years for there to be more focus on content area literacy for educators before they go into the classroom. And this huge misunderstanding of what that even means, and that you know, a lot of people think that, you know, I'm going to be teaching elementary students, so why do I have to be worried about content areas? I'm not going to be teaching that stuff. And then the other side of that is that you get older student teachers who are teaching, you know, 8th grade math, and they're saying, why do I need to know anything about literacy? I teach math. I'm a history teacher, American history teacher, so why do I need to know anything else about literacy? Because I don't need literacy to teach history. And there can be nothing, further from the truth with that, y'all. And I want you to see that. And I want you to see it not just in, any lectures that we have or any of the material that you read, but also in the actual assignments that you're going to be completing. You're going to be these reflective writings. The purpose of the reflective writing is very much for you to experience a variety of content-based literacy type materials where you're learning about the content that you need, but you're also learning some of the strategies that you might use in order to then turn around and use those things in your own classroom one day. So I'm very much absolute definite trying to use some of the things in you learning your content through the assignments that you're doing. Okay, so lady, tell me in a nutshell what you're looking for here. Number one, I promise I'm looking for evidence that you're reading. No matter how overwhelming this semester is, and it is an overwhelming semester, I do want you to be prepared. I want you to be prepared for the things that you have ahead of you. This pandemic should not keep you from doing anything that you want to do. So in order for that to happen, we do have to pull ourselves in, rein ourselves in a little bit, hold on to that, call the anxiety and frustration what it is, and not let it get in our way of making the progress that we need to make so that you're going to be ready. Because this is going to, at some point, be gone, and you're going to move into, I don't know that anything's going back to what it used to be before, but definitely we're going on to a normal life at some point. And we want to try to do that as much as we possibly can, even now, right in the middle of all of this. So with that being said, the reflective writing assignments are very much, I want you to read these articles. Number one, why is she making us do this? Number one, I want you to read the articles. This is content area reading class. It is very important that you are reading a variety of materials to prepare you for being in the classroom, to also give you some experiences about very similar to what your students are going to experience when they are faced with text. Now, your students obviously are not going to have the text types of assignments that you have where you're higher level types of material, but the things that you're experiencing with those texts are the same types of things that your students will experience with more informational types of text. Very likely on a lower level, but they still experience those same things. So it's very important that you realize now that there are very different texts out there, and you are responsible for reading and understanding all of those different texts. You will, throughout your entire life, be faced with unfamiliar text that you're not exactly, an expert on reading. Your kids are going to feel that way in class from the first day. They're going to come into your classrooms no matter what level they are, and they are going to have a different set of skills, different sets of background, different everything that's coming with them. And so they're going to all look at text very differently, just like you do. Some of you mentioned how long some of them were. Some of you mentioned the ease of reading that the Literacy Today articles were as compared with the research. I am so thrilled to see and to hear you, or to read you noticing, because that's on purpose, y'all. That's not an accident. I want you to notice the differences in the types of text. I am very purposely going to give you text that's relevant to what you're studying in this class. Text that obviously will give you some variation in the types of text that you will be faced with in your life and in your school, and so that you will have the same types of experiences that your students will. Okay? So, and then the writing aspect of it is very much a processing type things. You know that literacy has to do with reading, writing, speaking, listening, viewing, hearing. All of those things come together to formulate literacy. Reading and writing are reciprocal processes. They go together very nicely. You can read something and process it through writing very differently than if you just read it and try to just think about it. I want you to think about it from a content aspect with the summary portion of the assignment, and then I want you to add that personal in with it, with your roles, the relevancy to your roles. Now, I'm going to change up the relevancy to the roles with this next reflection, because, you know, when I put this assignment in to begin with, I did not know that we had made the decision, and I think that decision was made right before that assignment was put up, that you would not probably be going into the classrooms. So I'm going to change that up a little bit, and I want us to focus a little bit more, instead of you thinking about your practicum classes and experiences with kids. I want you, let's go ahead and we'll focus a little bit more on the types of text that we're looking at and the types of strategies that you use with those texts, okay? So this is not I'm not counting spaces. I'm not looking at, that concerned me a little bit, your worry about things that didn't have anything to do with content. Yes, I want you to follow my instructions, but this is a learning process, and I am very, very, very much more interested in seeing you transact with the text. You've had literacy classes, I know that you have, and you know that reading comprehension, it takes place only if there is a transaction with the text. The reader brings something to the text brings something to the reader, and that transaction takes place, and that's comprehension. Now, if you don't have a transaction, then you don't have a comprehension, and everything shuts down at that point. So it is very important that you begin to think about the way you're reading something. Now, there is a really funny word, and I know that you've probably heard about this in your literacy classes in the past, but metacognition. Metacognition is very important. It is thinking about how you are thinking about things, okay? How are you making connections? How are you making sense of things? How are you comprehending? What do you need from a text to be able to comprehend that particular type of text? So you're thinking about it from a content standpoint, but also from a strategic standpoint. Wow, that's a lot to think about. That's exactly what this class is all about. That is content area reading in a nutshell. It really is, y'all. So very definitely through this experience, you are going to be learning about that, but you're also going to be experiencing it as you learn about it through the reflective writing assignments. Now, we will reach a point closer to the end of the semester where we will go back and we will formulate an annotated bibliography. It's going to be easy. It's not going to be something that is, you already have all of this written. So you're basically going to go in there and make any corrections you need to make. You're going to put that stuff together in an annotated bib, more focused on your topics for the final paper for the class. And the final paper for the class is going to be about a topic that you choose based on the readings that we've done in the class. I guess you really can think about this particular class as a reading and writing class. That's what it is, because that's what content area literacy is. So you know that in my class, the focus is going to be on reading and writing, and that's what you're going to be doing. There's not going to be anything else that's going to be added in. You're going to have your discussion boards, you're going to have your reflective writing assignments, you're going to be doing your reading, and you're going to be doing your reflections, and you're going to be thinking about what that stuff means, and you're going to pull it all together in a final product in the end. There's nothing to be worried about as long as you're doing your reading and your writing. I promise. That is it, okay? It's very much an experiential type of thing, and needs to be with content area literacy. It is very important that you are truly seeing what it is that your students will struggle with their own things. Stress and anxiety is a big one. Yes, I know. I feel it too. It's chaos. It is chaos. No doubt about it. Practicum hours. Let's see. What else? I may have already talked about everything that I wanted to talk about. Yes. A couple of you noticed, and I thought this was so cool that you noticed this, that the that you might possibly be used to having a couple classes online, but now that you have everything online, that you're having a difficult time keeping up with all the videos and all the meets and all the different formats that you're supposed to be meeting in, and you're scared that you're going to miss assignments and those kinds of things. Bad connections, loud people in your house, I am right there with you. In my home, every 15 minutes there are dogs barking. So most of the time if I make a video, I do it somewhere else, not at home, because dogs are barking in the background. We very particularly don't like the UPS man, so we tend to make lots of noise when the UPS man is there. So definitely, there are going to be some things that are going to come out in the reading that are new. These are things that we're going to have to think about as we move forward. Navigate. I loved this part of some of your postings here, that we are navigating, and that's true. We're navigating. We are creating the map. I mean, we're not just following a map. We're actually not following any kind of map, but we are actually creating it, y'all. Again, I think that we're better off to think that we are creating a new normal rather than waiting and hoping to go back to what we used to call normal, because I don't think that's going to be the way it is anymore. I think that we're creating this as we go along. And so you have got a fantastic view, if you will, on the starboard of your ship, as you're drawing the map out, as you are figuring out what this is going to look like for the future. Okay, navigation. So that's what we're calling what we're doing, is navigation. I know my video is getting a little long, and I never want to do that to y'all, because I know that there were several of your memes that just made me laugh out loud, and I love that, and I feel you right there with you. One of you mentioned this tickled me so much, because you talked about the modules and the different classes and how those things are set up. We are taught to set those things up following what's called Quality Matters, where you have the modules week by week, and you try to embed everything that your students need in those modules. So for my class, you should definitely be able to go to your modules page and follow the modules there on a week-to-week basis. Now, does that mean it's going to be perfect? No way, it's not going to be perfect. If you ever find a link that's not working, or something that you can't find, it doesn't make sense or whatever, certainly I understand that different teachers feel differently about different things, but I don't mind if you email me and say, hey, Dr. Smith, the link in the module about such and such is not working, or screenshot it for me and send it to me, and let me know it's not working. And sometimes it's very helpful to show me what kind of message you're getting too. That way I'll know on my end what possibly might be left out in that kind of situation. So many of you mentioned that that your teachers are as anxious as you are, and they are. And we said this last week or I said this last week to a particular student who text messaged me. We're all on this. We're all in this together. We are on an even playing field at this point, trying to figure out how this stuff works. We are realizing that there are bigger gaps in our knowledge base than we knew there were, maybe, or that we really wanted to pay attention to, but now we have no choice but to pay attention to them. So you're going to see us having to do that too. Good teachers make changes when stuff's not working. You need to remember that, because you are never going to walk into a classroom and absolutely everything is going to work when you get in there. Okay, so you need to be willing to make changes as you go along. And that comes back to that teacher practitioner conversation that we had. Your practitioner, again, think about your doctor. If your doctor's in the middle of surgery and something's not working well, does your doctor just keep on doing the same thing over and over again? No, we don't want them to. We want them to think about what's happening with that particular patient, or that particular procedure for that patient. Why is it not working? How can we make adjustments in order to make sure that that patient gets what that patient needs? That is very much, you are a practitioner. You are making decisions with boots on the ground, making decisions as you go. So some of this frustration and anxiety, if you can hang on to it, again, call it what it is, but hang on to it and keep moving forward with it, it's actually pretty good practice for real life. Okay, so again, and I know you probably don't want to hear me say that kind of stuff, but you know, I get it. I do get it. One of you said, and I would hug you if we could hug. You said that you felt like this course was a safe place. If I can create that feeling for you in this course, that is everything to me. Everything to me. I want you to feel safe in this course. It's why I removed the late assignment penalties. I don't want you to be so worried about how many spaces you have behind your periods and how many words there are in something. You know, I have to give you a word count, because if I don't give you a word count, then I'm going to probably have a student or two who's not going to do the assignment like they should, and it will affect their grade. Now, you're never going to write more. I'm never going to count off if you give me more. I always try to just give a minimum, but that doesn't mean that you have to do that. Sometimes there may be more for you to say on some assignments than others. I don't have a problem with that, not at all. There may be a particular article that you yourself have difficulty reading. You know, the rest of the class may have just zoomed right on through it, but for whatever reason, you have difficulty reading that particular article. So even your summaries are not going to be the same, okay? So again, this is definitely a safe place. I want you to learn something here. That is my number one goal, for you to learn something. Let's see if there was anything else. Oh my goodness, one of you talked about your printer issues. I am right there with you. That's actually why I'm in my office here today. Because I wanted to print out these things so that I could take a look at them. I'm old enough that I do like to have things printed out, and I print out a lot of stuff. My articles, I read the same articles you do. I highlight them, I make notes on them, all of those good things. So I'm right there with you. And yes, $50 for cartridges. It's the most ridiculous thing, isn't it? What else? Let's see. That may be everything. Those were your discussion boards, and then let's see, rant if you need it. You don't have to get a student for this class. Let's see. We're all juggling stuff. You're juggling. You're juggling your personal lives, your professional lives, your student lives, your home lives, your personal relationships, academic relationships. I get it. I do. I totally and completely get it. You've got a lot of questions, and some of you've got some fantastic questions. I don't have answers for all of the questions, particularly the questions that don't pertain to this course, but certainly anything that's passed along to me, I will definitely pass along to you. I want you to think about the discussion board as a way for you to share information with each other too. So as people are putting questions in there, I want you to think about those questions. And if you know something that somebody else doesn't know, put it in there, please. Help each other. A few of you have mentioned, that you have a group text with each other. I think that's fantastic. You are putting your community together. You are helping each other, supporting each other, collaboration. You cannot go out into the world and be a good teacher and not collaborate with others, okay? Very important. Your mental health is incredibly important. And I besides everything else, and I think I'm looking here, I think that I have mentioned everything I wanted to mention, but I want to spend my last couple minutes, and I know this has gone a lot longer than I intended it to. I told you in the beginning, I talk a lot, write a lot too. And I'm not a YouTuber, so I'm sure there's tons of things I'm doing wrong in this YouTube video, but your mental health is incredibly important. I can't say that to you enough. Please take some time for yourself every day. Find some things that work for you. I've shared with you honestly, and will continue to share with you honestly. I have to take care of my spirit on a daily basis. I do. When I don't have time or don't make time for that, I feel it. I can tell the difference in the way I think about everything. My day is not as good. Sometimes I end a day with some spiritual practices, and making lists and journaling and reading certain books and things like that. I can't stress that to you enough, y'all. You need to do that type of self-care no matter what, but especially right now. especially right now, okay? Especially right now. I also want you to be able to, you know, I'm not a therapist, but I can certainly help you find somebody. If you get to that point where you're so frustrated and you don't know where to turn, again, we've got a couple folks in our groups who've got lots of experience with therapy, and please support each other, help each other. That's so very important. It is so very important that we hold each other up, okay? Very important. I can't stress that enough. I'm going to try to do some more of these little videos for you. This one has gone on for 30 minutes. I'm watching my little time clock at the top. Obviously, I love it because you can fast forward these. You can watch them when you want to. You can not watch them at all if you don't want to. It doesn't bother me in the least little bit. But I want to, again, I'm going to try to, you know, add some things. This week, your discussion board is going to be about this types of format, you know, and the concept of very possible overload, which you're feeling very much right now. And I want us to talk a little bit about how we can try to take care of ourselves and share some of the strategies and the things that you do that work for you that might also work for others. So y'all, we're in this together. We're going to do this thing. You're going to be fine. It's going to be great. Your grades are going to be fine. This is my goal. My goal is for you to read. My goal is for you to write a variety of types of text so that you get the experiences that your students will have with content area types of text. That's it. There's no trick. There's no agenda. That's what it is. Okay? I'm still working on your reflective writing grades. The only way that you're not going to do well on the first reflective writing is if you didn't complete it. I do have a few people who didn't complete it. And obviously, I'm going to offer you that opportunity to go back and complete it. That's going to be your choice always. You know, I'll put the grade in there. But if you want to go back and complete something, just let me know. It's not a problem. Okay? We are in this together. We're going to do this. I promise. All right. See y'all next time. Take care.